What is up, everyone? Welcome to the second preseason guide for game week 1 ahead of the new FPL season. My name is Ryan and welcome to the football chat box. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the video. Alright, we are back for guide number 2. This is a day late because I wanted to wait for the Liverpool game to complete, and it was good that we kind of waited because now Darwin Núñez is on the thumbnail. But we'll discuss all of that. We'll look at all the preseason teams, like how they've done, and keep going and seeing what teams that we would want to target ahead of the new season. If you are new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We are very close to 550 subscribers, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. Obviously 1000 subscribers is the target, but let's get started. And we're going to be looking at all of these teams and maybe talk about a few FPL players from some of the teams. Alright, so before we start, this video is sponsored by Fantasy Football Scout. If you want to sign up for Fantasy Football Scout, you can use the link in the description below. They do have a membership right now in terms of 30% savings, so make sure to check out the site, and all the data that you get here is from the Fantasy Football Scout, and also they have a really good preseason tracker as well in terms of minutes if you want to see that. So do make sure to check out the site. Links in the description, and let's get started. Now, Arsenal first up. Obviously they've played 4 games now so far, with 3 more to go, and I think they've got a few interesting games. The last tough game they played was against Manchester United, and they were 2-0 down at halftime. So does that mean that this Arsenal team is probably not going to keep up in terms of the same form as last season? Now, obviously, they've signed Declan Rice, Havertz to the team. Now, one thing I think is that in terms of the Declan Rice signing, I think it'll take time. He's still not used to his team having the ball. He's used to playing in a West Ham team that doesn't always have the ball. He's always used to defending deep. Now he's going to be expected to be playing and getting involved in play as well. So we'll have to see how that develops. Obviously, you can't tell with just 1 or 2 preseason games. We'll see a bit more in terms of preseason how they do. But 2-0 at halftime with a very strong Arsenal team against the United team that had just put newly, like, not even fully strong yet. But I think that's something interesting to kind of consider and wait and see how things play. Now, Kai Havertz obviously in the midfield in that number 8, what we were kind of expecting. So we'll see going further forward. Is he going to be there? Now, Gabriel Jesus is not here, but obviously he will, I think, continue to start as well. The more preseason games they have. Now, the next one they have is against Barcelona. So that should give us a bit more information in terms of Arsenal and whether they're actually defensively also any good. A lot of people are hyping up Gabriel, but I still don't know if Gabriel is the player to go for. I do prefer Saliba instead, because I'm a bit worried that Gabriel could potentially lose his place to a Ben White or even a Urian Timber, because if I look at the backline, I'm like, okay, left back, they have an issue that has to be solved, but center back, I feel like Saliba is a better defender than Gabriel. Just let me know what your thoughts about that. So I'm not sure whether I would want Gabriel in my FPL team or not, but we'll see. Obviously, Barcelona coming up next. Let's see how they do. Let's go to Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa, nothing really too much to add. They did play a game against Newcastle 3-3. Ollie Watkins and Buendia were the 2 scorers. Now, is Buendia going to be the new Leon Bay of this? Obviously, previously is Aston Villa, Leon Bay, Aston Villa. Is he going to be the same case as this time? Now, I do think that Buendia is a better player, but the start for Aston Villa isn't the best, obviously. We kind of can wait and see. It's alright start in terms of Aston Villa and Buendia. His price tag, he is currently at 6 million. So very interesting price tag. Now, one thing I will add to this is they've just signed Musa Diaby, and he also plays on the right side. He used to play on the right side in the Bundesliga. So that is something you might want to consider and see. He's coming at 6.5 million. So it'll be very interesting to see whether that affects Buendia, or does Diaby play on the left? Kind of have to wait and see on that, but that is something to kind of consider as well. We'll see with more games. Aston Villa's next game now comes up against Fulham, part of the Premier League summer series, so we'll continue to see how they perform as well. Moving on, Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth, I don't think there's too much to add on Bournemouth. We're not really looking into them. The start hasn't been start isn't the best in terms of fixtures, so I'm not going to spend too much of time on them. But this is how it's looking looking like right now. So nothing too much to talk about Bournemouth. So I'm just going to move on, and there hasn't been any update as well in terms of fixtures since the last video. So moving on, Brentford. Now, Brian Mbeumo played. A lot of people have Mbeumo in our teams. And apart from that, Visa took the striker spot. Now he's playing that number 9 spot instead of Ivan Toney. And he did get on the goals. And Mbeumo obviously doing Mbeumo stuff and hit the post. Now, from a defensive point of view, I've seen a lot of people have Flecken in their team. Let me just check how many people actually have Flecken in their team. Currently, Flecken is owned by... Oh, it's only about 3.1%. Okay, it's not too bad. But in terms of goalkeepers, I think he is... Teams. Here we go. Okay, he's not that highly owned, so that's not too bad because I think people might want to consider that he's still a new goalkeeper. They haven't really kept a single clean sheet, so it doesn't really look forward to, like, if you're looking to try and get a 4.5 million goalkeeper in, even though their opening run is okay, you still want a new goalkeeper to try and get used to his backline. And so far, they haven't seemed like they've been able to keep clean sheets. So that is something I would want to kind of consider. But apart from that, Visa is a very interesting prospect. If you're looking for a cheap striker, I would say, in terms of striker, let me see how much he's owned by. He's currently 6 million. So if you're looking for a 6 million striker, or a budget striker, that is basically good fixtures, to be honest. The first 8 out of the first 8, you got some decent fixtures in there, so he could be very interesting. And Mbeumo, we kind of had to wait and see. Going forward in the next couple of preseason games, the next game for Brentford is against Brighton, so that's a tough opponent, so should be really good. And then they have Aston Villa as well, so we have some good, a few more good matches to come, where we can kind of get a better idea of this Brentford team and where they stand. Moving forward, we go to Brighton. Now, Brighton played a really very high goal scoring game against Chelsea, where they did consider a lot. So you have Estupinan. You might want to wait and see how they do against Brentford and Newcastle next for the next 2 games for Brighton. So see how they do in terms of their defense. Apart from that, Joao Pedro. Now, he's not on this starting lineup because he came off the bench in the second half, but he's also someone to kind of consider. Now, one thing I'll add, I'm just going back again. With regards to Brighton's 4-3 game, they did consider a red card, so that did change things because they were 1-1 at the time the red card was considered. So that's a few things to kind of consider in terms of defense. But yeah, Joao Pedro is someone who is very interesting. What's his price tag? Let me see. I think he is someone we probably would want to kind of consider. Currently at 5.5, so a pretty good price tag. He did take the penalty as well, so I would monitor him. I think their opening fixtures are good. If you're looking for a budget striker, he's someone I would like to consider. Now, we'll see whether he can actually get that starting spot because Danny Welbeck started. We'll see in the next couple preseason games whether he can actually get that starting spot. So let's move on to Burnley. Now, Burnley, I mean, City to start off and then a blank. I'm not really going to talk about them too much, but that's the formation that they played in the last game against Genk. Not keeping too many clean sheets per se, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them apart from just like that's the starting lineup. We'll kind of wait and see. They aren't really playing any. I guess Benfica is the next game, so we'll see how they do against Benfica. That'll probably give us a better idea in terms of how good this Burnley team is. But apart from that, like the previous opponents haven't been that great. Moving forward, Chelsea. Now again, they played 2 games. The first one was against Wrexham, so I'm not going to look into it too much. The second one was against Brighton. Now we just discussed about Brighton. Chelsea, on the other hand, scoring goals 4-3, but it was 1-1, as I said, in terms of the red card happened. That did help in terms of them scoring more goals. But what didn't help, like even though they were a man up, they still can't keep clean sheets. So now I've got Ben Chilwell in my initial draft that I made, but now I'm kind of considering, is Chelsea defense really good? Because I feel like they still need to sign another defender. They'll probably be in the market for a centre back because the defense is still not great. So that's something we kind of had to wait and see. But apart from that, Jackson, who is not in this, did come off the bench and was doing well. Will he start in that striker spot and Nkunku goes to the number 10 is something that I'm very interested to see whether that will happen or not. For the moment, Nkunku is the one playing that striker spot, and I still think Nkunku is pretty good. Jackson's at 7 million though, so it is a bit more expensive compared to, let's say, in Brighton where you had Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro? Yes. So that's something to kind of wait and see where Nkunku, whether he plays the striker or the number 10. I still think he's a good player regardless. And then Matteson obviously seems to be doing well. It seems to be interesting. So few things to kind of monitor from Chelsea. The next game is against Newcastle. So should be a good game. Newcastle, then Fulham for them. So get more info as well. And I'm trying to get someone on the channel to discuss some Chelsea assets as well, probably next week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe button as well. Let's move on to Crystal Palace. Are we really getting any Crystal Palace players, to be honest? Zaha has moved. He's gone to the Turkish league. So Eze could be the talisman. I mean, he's got 3 assists and a goal so far. So maybe someone that you would want to look at. But with those opening set of fixtures, at least for the first 3, I'm not sure. So maybe not. In terms of price tag, he is currently at 6.5 million. So maybe, but I'm not convinced at the moment in terms of just the opening fixtures. I think I'd probably go for someone else. But later down the line, Eze could be someone we do end up going for. Let's move to Everton. Now, Everton have played 2 games. Not the best of a position, to be honest. Their next game again is also Bolton. Then they've got Stoke, and then they've got Sporting at the end. So Sporting is probably the game you want to see where this Everton team is actually at. But they played Ashley Young in the are those 2 number 10s, I would say. So maybe something you would want to see where Ashley Young kind of is. In terms of price, I can't even find him on the FPL site. I can't even find Ashley Young. So I'm just like blind. One of the 2. Where? Aston Villa? Nope. Okay, so something, I don't know if he's still on the FPL site or not. So that's something that we probably would want to wait and see for. Nope, I can't find him. So, oh no, he's there. He's as a defender, a 4.5 defender. Oh, okay, that is very interesting. So if Ashley Young is still playing in that very attacking number 10 spot, that is someone you would probably want to wait and see for, because he could be very interesting. At 4.5 defense, he's playing that attacking spot. That's someone I would want, especially even though those fixtures are all right. That's someone I would consider, especially over Pickford. So keep an eye out for that. Moving forward, Fulham. Now, Fulham played 1 game in a high-scoring game against Brentford, 3-2. They won 3-2 without Mitrovic. Now, Mitrovic is rumored to apparently be leaving the club, so that's something we kind of want to wait and see whether that happens or not, but most likely will happen. They are also rumored with signing Jimenez from Wolves because of that. So that also means that we don't get a cheap striker in Vinicius or anyone like that as an option. So that's kind of something we kind of have to wait and see where Fulham, who ends up becoming the striker. But Wilson and Decador Reed got in the goals. Harrison Reed had a few assists. So kind of few interesting things to consider in terms of Fulham going forward. Obviously, the fixtures until game week 4 aren't the best, but after that it looks decent, something to consider. So Fulham, we can wait and see. We'll see whether they sign Jimenez and whether Mitrovic leaves. But apart from that, nothing else to discuss on Fulham. Liverpool. Now, this is why I waited to delay this video so that we can kind of talk about it. They played a team that I have no idea where they are. And honestly, the game before that also wasn't the best in terms of opponent. Their next game is against Leicester, maybe a bit better, but the actual one that you would want to talk about will be the one in a couple of days after that against Bayern Munich. Now, that will give us a better idea of where this Liverpool team stands. One thing is for certain, they still can't defend. If you look at the highlights of the Liverpool game, the defending wasn't the best. Something I guess to note here is that Trent was playing in midfield. So that's kind of interesting. Cody Gakpo also in midfield. So that is something interesting. But when you look at that midfield, you go, there isn't someone who is that number 8 CDM type player. They've been linked with Fabinho leaving, Henderson leaving, so they still no number 8 defensive midfielder, which kind of showed why they conceded 4 goals as well against a team that I've never heard before, to be honest. So that is something you might want to wait and see. Now, going forward though, Salah was playing well. He played on the wide. Darwin Núñez played that striker spot as well, so he managed to get a couple of goals as well. So those are few things we might want to kind of wait and see in terms of Liverpool. I think Leicester maybe it's an alright game to kind of consider, but I think the Bayern Munich game will tell us where exactly this Liverpool team is, and then after that we'll be able to make a better decision on Liverpool as well. But for the moment, I'm not really looking at Trent. Darwin Núñez though, we'll think about it. Salah, I think, still, I mean, 3 assists is no joke. I think you could try and make a draft with Salah. That is something I'll be looking to make into as well. So we'll see about it. Anyways, that's Liverpool. Let's move to Luton. I mean, I couldn't find a formation for them. I tried looking at SofaScore, just couldn't find. So if any Luton fans know, please let me know. But I'm not going to add too much on Luton. They haven't played a game since the last video. City. Now, City played a game against Yokohama. Now, I'm not going to talk about it too much, apart from the fact that Cancelo managed to play. So, interesting to see whether he stays at the club or leaves the club. But that's the team. Julian Alvarez obviously started, but Haaland scored 2 goals. So, you still want Haaland in your draft. Don't think that you can make a draft without Haaland. It might be not the best decision, to be honest. But the opening set of fixtures are good. Rotation, obviously, is something to kind of consider. The next game is against Bayern. So, I mean, that'll happen I think that's happening today or tomorrow. So, that's something that will give us better information on City. Apart from that, not looking into the recent fixtures that they just had. Moving forward, Manchester United, they played Arsenal, where Bruno Fernandes is back for the first time. We saw him play in a more advanced role compared to Mason Mount, who was a bit more deeper. Kobe Mainu continues to like perform really well. Now he obviously has got 2 assists so far, but I don't know if he'll start for United going forward, like as in when the Premier League starts. But he's someone that has been performing really well, so we're interested to see how it goes. But I think Casemiro will eventually take his role. So we got an idea in terms of Bruno, more advanced than Mason Mount. Sancho's been playing striker. I don't expect that to be the case when the season starts. If we sign a striker, to be honest, if United do sign a striker, then whoever the striker will be playing in that spot. So I don't know where Sancho is going to play. Rashford still a bit rusty coming back. So I guess a few more games we'll get a better idea on Manchester United. Next one is against Wrexham. That is not going to be the main team. That's going to be most of the kids playing. But the next one after that is against Real Madrid. So that is the big game where we want to see how this team does. So we'll kind of wait and see. And see how they perform against Real Madrid. That'll give us a better idea in terms of where this United team starts. And also, in that game, we might hopefully see Onana. So we'll be able to get a better idea in terms of whether Onana is good enough to warrant getting into our FPL teams or not. So far, they've kept a clean sheet in every single game. If they do continue this for the next set of preseason games with Onana in goal, then he's kind of worth considering. Even with the upcoming set of fixtures, I think it's pretty good. All right, moving on. Newcastle. Again, a high-scoring game. 3-3 against Aston Villa. Tough opening fixtures in the Premier League, obviously. But Isak scored. Elliot Anderson is someone who's interesting. He seems to be having a really good preseason, Anderson. He's currently priced in at 4.5 million, Anderson. So if you're looking for another budget midfielder who is having an insane preseason, 4.5 million in Anderson, Ashley Young 4.5 million as well. So these are a few players you might want to kind of consider in terms of players that you would want to have in your teams, or at least those bench options. Opening set of fixtures aren't the best for Newcastle, but after that they do have really good options. So if he does manage to continue to perform, I mean, it's worth having him at the start itself, even if you're not going to play him for the first 3 games. So that's Newcastle. I think the rest we can kind of wait and see. They do have a few interesting fixtures against Chelsea, Brighton, and Fiorentina as well upcoming. So we'll get better information and whether we can see whether Elliot Anderson continues his performances as well. Moving further forward, Forest. Not going to speak too much about it, apart from this is what their formation is. They look like they're signing Anthony Elanga from Manchester United, so we'll be interested to see whether he takes Ryan Yates' position. But apart from that, this is the team. We'll see how they go. Opening fixtures bad, so not going to talk about it too much. Let's move. Sheffield United. Again, a newly promoted team. I don't know too much to talk about it because their fixtures are not the best as well. So again, this is the formation. They kept 2 clean sheets though. I'll give them that. So if you're looking for a defender though, maybe someone that you can pick from here. But wait, let's see. I think their next set of fixtures, anything good? I mean, they don't have. I guess Rotherham next is a decent team to face. So we'll see how they do. Moving forward is Spurs. Now Spurs' game against Leicester got postponed, and that was the formation that was lined up for Leicester, as you can see, with Heung-min-son, Harry Kane in the center, Maddison number 10, Kulusevski on the right. Destiny as the left back. Now Destiny is priced in at 4.5 again. A lot of 4.5 cheap players so far that we've been touching on. So we'll wait and see. Next game for Spurs is against Roma. Now, we'll see how they do against Roma. The problem with Spurs is they haven't got enough of preseason games. The one against Leicester got postponed. They got Roma and then Shakhtar next. Not the strongest of opponents. Maybe Roma under Jose could give them a bit of a challenge, but we'll see. Those opening 2 fixtures aren't the best for defensive wise, but if Destiny does start, someone to consider in your drafts, at least even on a bench option. So yeah, he's one. Heung-min-son, Harry Kane, we can wait and see how they do in the next couple of preseason games, but I don't think I'll be having them in my starting lineup. Moving further forward is West Ham. Now West Ham have scored a lot of goals, a buttload of goals. But the one who's standing out is Divin Mumbama. He's currently priced at, would you guess that? 4.5. He's having a really good preseason. 3 goals and did he get any assists? No. So 3 goals so far. Someone you would want if you're looking for another. Did we mention a 4.5 forward? No, we didn't, right? So here's your 4.5 forward. Mubama, decent first opening game as well. You're looking for a 4.5 forward who probably plays. Here's your man. So wait and see. Let's see how they do the next set of games. For West Ham, they've got Stade Rennes up next and then Leverkusen. So monitor, wait and see, but interesting. And then the final one is Wolves. I still can't find a Wolves formation, man. Like I can't. Maybe I should ask FPL Black Wolves, but can't find formations. But they've played 3 games. I should add that they have not 5 games total. They've added a few more games to their list by the looks of it. So I should change that for the next video. It should actually be 7 games now. But the next one they're playing against Porto. So that's actually a really good opponent to play. And hopefully I'll have a formation from SofaScore for you. But so far, Matthew Cunha and Sarabia seem to be the ones who are performing. We'll see how they do. Obviously, I forgot the striker's name. You know the person I'm talking about. I just spoke about him before. He's leaving, but I don't think that will impact them too much, maybe, because most of the time he's injured, so we'll see. But not the best of opening fixtures, so not going to talk too much apart from because we don't have any good information. So let's move. That's the end basically. So thank you all for watching. If you made it all the way to this point, let me know what you thought about the 4.5 players I called out. Any one of those players getting into your team. If you made it all the way up to this point, also make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. 550 is also very close by. So hit the like button, subscribe, and thank you all for watching.